Hey everyone, Evan McKenna here from Permission to Game. We are here today with a special episode, actually going to look at how to customize your Xbox controller. Now, a lot of us, we want to make gaming our own personal thing, and we sometimes don't have the money to spend on the really expensive Pro controller. And I know that other brands like Nintendo here has done a very good job at making their system customizable. I mean, you can change out the controllers, you can buy new Joy-Cons, they take them on and off, different colors, it makes it super simple. But we don't get that with every other brand out there. So there's a couple different things you can do to, in a sense, DIY and customize and make your system unique to you. Now, one thing I really like to do, and it's super simple both on PlayStation and Xbox, is literally just change up the controller shell. Now, here in front of me, I've got the second gen, the Xbox One S and the One X controllers. These are actually easier to modify than the original early style ones, but if you want to change it up and you don't want to buy the Pro controller, for about 15 bucks, you got your own custom look to what you want. They've got all sorts of things out there. I really like the wood look personally. This one's cool because it maintains that original kind of Xbox One S white kind of style. The white does look good with systems, but it changes it up, adds a little bit of texture with the splatter, and I get compliments every time I got friends over. So I'm going to show you today on how to actually swap this out and take off and do just the outer shell if you wanted to only do the kind of the front face, or in this case we're going to do a full shell replacement, and I made a decision to go with the clear one. So I brought the box with me. Here we are. It is opened up so that I don't have to cut it open, but we're going to open it up today. We're going to show you what's inside of it for 15 bucks, and about 15 minutes you're going to have your own custom thing. Now, depending on what you buy, let me move these out of the way. Depending on what you buy, some are going to come with tools, some are not. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you've got some of these tools here specific to taking apart an Xbox One S controller. Now this one here, I don't remember the exact size, but it's a Torx bit. It's got the security inputs, little dot like right in the middle. They put a little way of keeping you from accessing and getting inside the Xbox controllers, but obviously there's ways around that. You're also going to need a sponger or the little pry tool here. These are really cheap to get, and a lot of times will come with a lot of shells. Unfortunately, the one I purchased here today, it does not have these tools here, so I had to bring them with me. At the end of the day, you're going to have your leftover shell. You can do whatever you want with it, and we'll go from there. So I know we've already started. I've got this one done up in wood, but I'm going to change it up. I've had this done for about 2 years now. It's getting a little worn. A lot of some of the wood coloring and stuff starting to come off. So let's change it up. Let's make it clear. So first off, let's unbox it. So opening it up, let's see what we get here. These are coming straight from China, obviously. A nice little thank you note, kind of gives you a little bit of what it is. Don't need that. Get that out of the way. So underneath here, you got in your little package here, you can see the clear controller shell. It looks like an Xbox One S controller in there. Let's open it up. Kind of take it out. Got multiple bags. So this one's really cool. It comes with all the replacement buttons so that if you want to, you can get rid of everything, make it entirely clear. Now, I'm not going to do that. I like having some of these accents. I like the black triggers, and I like the way that Xbox has designed their buttons. So I don't want to completely replace everything. So I'm going to leave these for another day. Maybe we'll swap them out. Who knows? And I'm going to do just the shell. So let's take this out of here. So you can see it's the entire Xbox One S shell. It even comes with a battery door and everything. So 3 pieces. Super simple. You got everything you need to turn this into this. So let's put this aside. We're going to need it here in a minute. And let's start here. Actually, let's start with the wood one, like I said. We'll start with our wood Xbox One S controller. So flip it over. Now, again, because I've already modified this, you'll see where I've changed some stuff. So we're going to open up the battery door, put that aside, take our AA batteries out. If you don't have them in there, awesome. As you can see here, I've already actually peeled off the center part of one of our actual screws. One of your screws is going to be hidden as a security measure underneath the actual graphic here. So keep that in mind when you're coming to yours. You can literally just take your tool, poke a hole straight through, boom, right into the screw. But before we do that, we got to take off these 2 side pieces because there's more screws underneath each one. 5 screws in total. So to do that, you're going to grab your simple pry tool. Again, these are like a nice soft nylon plastic. The idea is we're going to try our best not to damage the controller. So this is going to be the thing that's going to get damaged first. So there's a couple lines you can start with. There's the seam here and the seam here. I like to start with the seam running down the side of the controller. It seems to be the easiest way to actually get it off. So you're going to take your pry tool, get it up underneath. You kind of hear some snapping. Don't worry, it's not going to freak you out. Sometimes you need two pry tools. I like to use my thumb. So you get your finger up underneath here, kind of just pop and work it around. It's meant to be difficult because they don't want it coming off. There you go. And as you see, launched across the room. So one of them's off. You can see the new screws here, one here, and additional venting holes as well. Let's pry this other side off. Again, some popping noises, nothing to be worried about. Gonna give it a little pry. Oh, this side pop back on. Pop, off it comes. So now that we've exposed all 5 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, we can now take apart the shell. So again, going to grab our Torx tool. Remember, it has a security dot. I like to start at the outermost and work my way in. Because they torque these down in a certain way that if it's not put together properly, you could have your buttons kind of mess up and whatnot. So let's start here. We're going to start at the very end. Let's make sure we get it on there nice and snug. Kind of give a little bit of firm pressure with your palm as you're spinning it. That way the actual screw doesn't strip out. Dump it over. There's the screw. Flip over to the other side. Again, start at the furthest most screw. Slowly add a little bit of pressure. Unscrew it. Flip it over. Dump it out. We're going to go to the next one right here. You're going to slowly undo it there. Turn it over. Oh, yep, there it is. And we'll get it here. It's stuck underneath the trigger. There you go. We'll get the next screw, last 4th one, before we go to the middle. And undo that. Right there. So last one's the middle one. Again, if you have a fresh controller you've never taken apart, you're going to need to make sure you kind of tear open the little part of the label there, and it's underneath the label. Again, that's for security purposes. In case you try to return it, they know you've messed with the controller. So keep in mind here, this does void any warranty on the controller. We at Permission to Game are not responsible if you break or damage them. So as you are doing this, keep this in mind. You could potentially brick your controller and make it unusable. So moving forward, if you're not comfortable, I don't do this, I don't advise it, but it is fun. And if you're looking to have a little bit of fun and creativity and figure things out, it's an easy and cheap way to make it customizable. 5th screw undone. Dump this out here, and this makes it easy. So I'm going to move these out of the way, put them in a spot so that you don't lose them. They are small. They get lost in the carpet. They are hard to find. So now I'm going to flip the controller over. You can see it's nice and done. We're going to slowly, just carefully lift this straight off. Boom. Got my shell off. It's out of the way. Don't need it anymore. I would keep it just in case you want to go back to it, even though I tossed mine in the corner. So with this one, if we wanted to just do the outer shell, I would take that top piece and I'd get it ready and I'd place it back on top. And as you can see, it kind of fits back in place here. And you look around, everything appears to be lining up properly. And boom, that looks cool in itself. But is it what I want to do? No, not exactly. So we're going to keep going. But if you wanted to, reverse option, put the screws back in, call it good. I mean, white and clear actually looks pretty sweet, honestly. I could rock this by itself. So let's go back. Let's take this back off, put it out of the way for now. I'm going to carefully flip this over and slide and pull it all the way up. Now, what you need to be mindful of is there's these 2 silver tabs here that are part of the battery terminals. Those actually slide into 2 little slots right here inside of the controller base. So when you're putting this back together, be very mindful that these 2 tabs are sliding into their slots properly. Now we've got the controller completely disassembled. And it actually looks like, if you notice here, they've actually snapped these in, so I'm going to have to pry these apart. I apologize. Give me a second here. They snapped this in here good. There's one. There's another. Got one side. Let's do the next one. Get the pry tool underneath here very carefully. Pop, boom, on the floor it went. Hooray. So there we go. Here's the base. We're all ready to go. I'm going to find those two like slide marks on my base. I'm going to very carefully start putting it down, ensuring that my battery terminals slide up in those points. Whoop, slide it in there. Now again, these are all aftermarket, made in China and other countries. The fitment may not be as nice as the original. So if you are a stickler for things looking original, this may not be the best thing for you, but it gives a cool look. So as you push it down, I always like to push the triggers in and make sure that everything kind of snaps into place and seats properly. It looks like everything is sitting down right. Feels a little weird at the moment, but we should be good as it all tightens up. All right, there we go. So the base is on. The metal tabs are in place. Let me just make sure. A little squeeze. And there you go. So we're going to take the top piece now, place that back on top, making sure that our sticks are in alignment because the stick will actually stay to the side if you're not careful. So make sure the stick's in alignment. Place this back on top. There we go. The two shells are ready to be screwed back together. Before I do that, I'm going to move all the sticks around, make sure all the buttons are clicking, that nothing appears to be binding, and we're good to go. Now let's screw this back together. All right, set it back down. Here's my 5 screws again. Now what I like to do, I like to start with the middle screw. Now again, like I said, it's similar to cars. When you're working with a car and you're putting the wheel back on, you go in a certain star type pattern to make sure the wheel is tight and proper. The same thing goes here with this controller. I like to start in the middle because it's the centralmost point of the kind of the pressure that's applied to the shell. And it makes sure that the centerpiece and all the buttons are held in firmly in the right place to start with. If I start on one of the corners, especially these outer reach ones, there's possibility that the shell will not align up properly and create issues with your buttons. So as you're screwing this down, this being a fresh shell, it may take a little bit of spinning, but it should stop on its own when it's fully in place. It's a little snug. This one's a little bit snugger than my other shells. All right. Almost down. You'll kind of feel it will stop. Do not over torque it. These little hand tools are great because they apply just the right amount of torque. Now, I'm a little concerned that screw is not sitting in straight. I'm going to continue this process on, see if anything binds, but that's not sitting well enough for me, so I'll probably take that back apart later and redo it. For now, let's move to the next one. Put it in the hole over here. Again, this is probably going to be a little snug too. Add a little bit of pressure with your palm as you twist. You'll get to a point where you'll feel it stop, and you know that you are good enough. Yeah, that one went all the way down. I like the way that one's seated. We'll flip to the other side, do the same one there. Get in the corner, put that screw in. Press down a little firm as you're twisting. That way you don't strip the screw. You will feel the screw bottom out and stop. Definitely stop at that point. And there you go. Those two screws are in. Still feeling good. Check all the buttons. We are still good there. Things looking pretty sweet, actually. All right, last two. We're going to start off in the corner here. Place it in. Put my whoop. There you go. It's hard to do upside down. All right. Make sure, see, I'm starting to slip a little. Make sure my pressure is even. This one's snug. All right. Keep going. It definitely needs to go a little bit further. This one's tight. All right. And the screw appears to be all the way down. There you go. Make sure, again, the screws are all the way down. That way the controller shell stays together very well. And the last one, let's try this again. I think this one, the screw holes are not pre-tapped. That's why it's taking a little bit more. The other shell, that wood one I had, everything was pre-tapped and ready. So it was super simple. Didn't have to fight it this much. All right, almost done. All right, that one's nice and snug. There we go. Everything feels solid. Let me press the buttons. We appear to be good. So last couple steps are going to be these little side pieces here. I dropped the other one on the floor, so I'll have to get that one in a little bit. So it snaps right on. Call it good. Let me get the batteries. So we got our positive and our negative. Oh, see, I forgot something. There we go. So make sure that you actually, on this one, take out this metal piece here that's attached inside the shell. That is part of your battery terminals here. That'll go down here. Again, this is the first time I've ever done a full shell swap. But your battery's going to go in here. They would normally sit perfect until I replace that. Can't show you. Snap the back battery cover on. And there you go. You are done. You've got this pretty sweet custom full clear. This is a matte frosted clear controller. Done in 15 minutes. And it's custom to me. That's the cool part. Well, thank you so much, guys, for following. Tune in next time. We're going to do more DIYs, more cool things on how to make your gaming life more enjoyable. But until then, make sure you follow us on social media. Check us out on ourcommunitynow.com. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, guys.